On this segment, we have joining us journalist Odufowokan. Also in the studio is the Secretary General, Ijo Youth Council, Alfred Kemepado. Gentlemen, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Nice to see you both. Right. Okay. Alfred, let me start with you because it's quite a little while we've seen you. We have been looking at some of the issues that shaped 2019. And the issue of the judiciary came on board. The issue of economy is there in the minds of people, and the issue of security is also there in the minds of people. Talk to us from the window of the Niger Delta, because that is one aspect that piracy has been on, which a lot of people are beginning to see a spike in the level of piracy in the Niger Delta. Yeah,
basically, the Niger Delta is far from what we expect with respect to the issues you mentioned, unemployment, piracy and other things. So, like I keep saying even on the show, all of these things are consequences of a failed system. A failed system starting with our education to our judicial system and then the whole social infrastructure that needs to be re-engineered. So we need to deepen what we need to do more with respect to building infrastructures that will tickle the economy of the Niger Delta to curb all of these things. We need to expand the horizons of education so we can have more people skilled, not just to get employed, but they can employ themselves. Because at every point in time, we can keep talking about these crimes and all of these things. All of this will not stop because when you take a root cause analysis of all of these things, it comes back to the lack of education, the lack of employment, and the lack of a thriving democracy that rides on a very fruitful judiciary, which we are still far from having.
All right, talking about the thriving democracy, another aspect is the aspect of the media, which Dari actually represents. And there has been concerns. According to one of our reports yesterday, there was a report saying that 71 cases of attacks on the media just this year alone. And
last year.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I'm serious.
Last year.
still in the past.
I told you, we'll keep making these mistakes until we get it right.
Last year alone. And last year, we also celebrated 20 years of democracy. And we know the role the media played, for us to return to democracy. There has been concerns, Dari, as to the shrinking media space and also civil space. I wonder how concerning it is for you so far.
Yeah, 2019 for us as media practitioners in Nigeria is actually 1 year we will remember for a long time. The number of attacks on journalists, reporters, and other media practitioners at their duty post or during their legitimate assignments rose to a worrying degree. And coming at a time when we felt the democracy we fought alongside others to enshrine in Nigeria, to entrench in this country, is coming of age. It became something quite saddening for us as professionals. The media has always been the whipping horse beyond the attacks, even when it comes to giving credits or finding faults. We discover that the media, a sector you and I belong to, is more faulted than credited. Even where the credit should come to the media, people still find a way of blaming the media for doing its duties. This is the year we heard about the hate speech attempt, as I want to put it. I hope it will remain an attempt. This is a glaring attempt to gag the media. This year alone, we've had journalists being killed. The Channel's reporter, who happens to be a youth corps member, is still fresh in our memory. There are others. There is another photographer who lost his life. There are others who were maimed while carrying on. And some of us too, especially when it comes to during the last general election,
Yes.
were exposed to so much danger that you begin to wonder, are we making progress in this country or we are retrogressing? In spite of all this, at the risk of sounding boisterous as a professional, at the risk of being accused of blowing my own trumpet, I want to say that my constituency, the media, in 2019, in spite of all odds, lived up to expectation. You understand how difficult it would be to report news accurately in an environment where it became obvious that you have to watch what you say. But in spite of all this, the media in Nigeria went all out to present to Nigerians the dangers of having press freedom suppressed. Also, because in our industry, balance and objectivity are two key issues. Yes. You will agree with me, or any other person out there will agree with me, that the media in Nigeria during this turbulent period was quite balanced and objective, because we had good reports of the tremendous and impressive efforts of this government to touch the life of Nigerians.
If I'm quickly cutting, Dari, that despite having a balance and objectivity, there was also the issue of fake news that
I was
threatening the unity of the country.
I was going to say that.
The Minister of Information will put it.
Then, you know, the media, that's the mainstream media, gave us both the good and the bad of everything. The administration, the government, the economy. When the economy was in terrible shape, we were told. When it peaked, we were told. When it became threatened again, we are being told. But in the midst of all this came fake news. Largely, I want to say, from the social media. Largely from this, because the mainstream media, yes, faulted once or twice, but the threat of fake news came from the social media, where everybody who can now afford to own an Android phone is a journalist. And sadly, the people were unable to differentiate between the professional and the
quack, maybe.
The quack, those who walked into it. Because it costs so much less now to own a blog. And then you don't even need a blog. Using your Facebook, you could do something and you have a link and you throw it around and it is news. Everybody generated and you could do something and you have a link and you throw it around and it is news. Everybody generated and fake news issue is a big threat. As we go into 2020, I want to believe that this is something we should take serious look at, because the fake news would threaten the real news. Okay. And when the real news is threatened, the media is in trouble.
It's all right. Now, Alfred, the point there is you mentioned earlier some of the vacuum that has been created by so long a period of neglect, from the economy to social, education, health, break it down, security, and all of that. Now, that calls for, we've heard a lot of Nigerians talking about different kind of reforms. You call them restructuring, you call them different kind of reforms. But every government that comes to power, they campaign on the knowledge of some of these things, and they want to, and they tell how they want to change all of those things. But unfortunately, when they come, not just this government from all the past, because even in the days of military, when they come, they tell you, this has not been we have come to change. Is there anything that the government usually are afraid of not going into, or is just the issue of I don't care?
No, it's not a matter of the issue I don't care. The truth, if it must be told, is that the present crop of leaders we have in this country do not have capacity to lead this country. Now, let me tell you this. I am not saying this in accusation of anybody. Today, this country is in a place where we are all not proud of. And records have it that most of the people leading this country led this country in their early 30s and in their late 20s. This just simply means that the kind of country they handed over to us and to themselves were a product of their previous incapacity. That is why we have even found ourselves where we are today. So what we need to do as a country is to consciously, like other countries have done, build a new generation for ourselves. And I want to urge everybody, may we not be scared not to see the fruit of that labor, even if that fruit of that labor, because the fruit of that labor is going to take some time to materialize. So what we need as a country is to totally revamp our culture. When I say culture, I don't mean drama and dance. I'm talking about our attitudes, our beliefs, our values as a people. Because you see, when you read literatures, if you still have time, you will discover that some time ago in the late 70s and the early 70s, we had economics such as that of South Korea and Ghana and some other African countries at par. And authors have also argued that the difference between these economies that have leaped into first world economies and we still remaining in the dungeon of third world, less than third world economics, is the values and attitudes with which we have approached. Some have even argued about the neo-colonialistic tendencies and what we have become, but that has also been deflated by many theories. You can quickly, yes, Nigeria is a colony of Great Britain, but you will also deny that we have countries like Hong Kong and Taiwan who are also colonies of Great Britain that have leaped into the first world. So we need to begin to consciously build a new value system. And that comes with a whole lot of education. That comes with a whole lot of cropping and raising our young ones from the secondary school to the primary school. See, let me just tell you the truth. At this particular point in time, we have a crop of leaders who majorly may be having nothing than to deliver a failed nation to us. Because this is what we have always. Before I came on this show, you were talking about since the 70s to the 90s to the 80s, we have always talked about power, a better economy. We keep talking about, we cherish it. Some of us even travel at least four times in a year and see all of these things abroad. But when we come back, nothing changes. The truth is they don't have capacity to deliver. And the system is not giving the young ones who have the capacity to deliver on these things the opportunity to do so. Instead, these individuals, the political class, by that I mean, who have no capacity to deliver, who are holding onto the system politically, deploy these young ones to deliver in their private companies and not in government sectors. And you know, government is everything. So this is where we are as a country. So summarily, I will tell you that we need to build a new country out of this failed situation. You can see every day the country is
that's
sliding.
a big challenge you have put forth there before the younger ones who are coming up, because sometimes when they have the opportunity also to be there, we've seen several young people who have also failed and lacked.
No, Mike, Mike, 1 minute. Let me tell you something.
That'll be a debate for another day. Thank you very much.
Because we've run out of time.
We've run out of time. Thank you very much, Alfred Kemepado. Thank you very much, Dario Odufowokan, for coming on the program. Yes.
All right.